Alright guys, so we are going to be doing another Shushika summon. So I think this one should be fairly short because I think you guys know how I feel about Unicorn. I think overall Unicorn is a pretty good unit. And first and foremost, this is a unit that is very one-dimensional. It loves doing damage, while if you are talking about survivability, you can count this unit out. So there you guys have it. So I think overall, if you guys do need a unit that can do a lot of good damage overall, just a lot of burst damage, I think after you pop the Hyper Awakening for this unit, I think with the shield funnels, you do definitely get that. I seen a shield funnel, like that portion of the damage is pretty much on par or not nearly the same output as like your first, like your main weapon or your third weapon, so it's pretty powerful. All right, so with that said, I think overall, if you guys do need an additional DPS unit, this one is definitely another one to go. But yeah, let's kind of talk about this unit real quick, and then I'll kind of talk about, let's say if we are not pulling this unit, what would be like, I guess, like the equivalent for this unit. I think equivalent for this unit, I would definitely say is the Sasabi, the yellow Sasabi, because throughout my kind of just testing out, playing a lot with this unit, I do find that the yellow Sasabi is pretty much on par as far as if you are talking about specifically generic units and whatnot. And I do argue Sasabi in some form of fashion can out damage this unit, because you know Sasabi having the late transcendent skill definitely gave an extra edge over this unicorn per se. But I think one thing that makes unicorn much more lethal is the fact that you can always get the guaranteed bullseye, while the Sasabi you cannot. So whenever or if in the near future we get any sort of event where the enemy has like incredibly high evasion, for example, or like the opponent has like, you know, absolute evasion, well then this unit is probably going to be a good unit to use to kind of elevate that. So I think that's the only like whole strong point, and even in the near future I would say this unit can still play a major role in just meta event out there. So if you guys are saying like, oh, I have XYZ unit, like do I still need it, I say yeah, just because of the Hyper Awakening effects right there. But let's take a look at this overall kit itself, and then we will kind of just chat away, I guess. So EX skill wise, dealing 693 damage, EX level 5, so this is good. Another buffer type style, so that's good, as 26%, starting out at what, 17%. And to sell for 10 seconds, grants Hyper Awakened status. So if you are talking about like what kind of unit enhancement you would be looking at, I would say you need at least like, I want to say maybe level 25 for the EX skill gauge recovery to make it worthwhile, where you don't really have any downtime to kind of maximize the whole Hyper Awakening, because you're getting these two things, or these two things: the shield funnel, the guaranteed bullseye status, and the 100% beam damage up. So to really maximize it, you definitely do need to build your unit to have a better EX2 gauge recovery. And at that point in time, you should be able to probably just land one additional attacks with like the base unicorn, and you can simultaneously trigger that. So currently I am testing it out at level 21 and it's doing pretty good. I just need to do one additional shot, and that is kind of it. It is my problem right now. I don't have a lot of resources, so I'm still trying to run a lot of co-ops, sell the modules, and then start putting them back in there. But I'll definitely say level 25 should be a pretty sweet spot where you're not wasting any EX gauge, or you're not overcharging it. That should keep you afloat on always having the Hyper Awakening status right there. But yeah, like I said again, the Hyper Awakening status, you get these three effects. You unlock the shield funnel, which just hits incredibly hard. Guaranteed bullseye, so you don't really need to build this unit having high accuracy because you are already getting bullseye. So that's actually pretty nice. And you also do have 100% beam damage up, so this is going to be fairly important, obviously. And we'll skip the transcendent skill. We will come back to it in just a bit. In terms of the skill 1, it's just your basic on dealing damage for 20 seconds, increase beam damage by 4.2%, stacking up to 10 times. So it is only going to be 42%. So on paper, it does feels pretty weak. And like I said, after trying comparing it to Sasabi, it does sound a little bit, or in comparison, it is a little bit weak, or in certain circumstances, it feels on par. But then again, for my Sasabi, it has better unit enhancement than the unicorn that I'm currently using. So there are a lot of consideration to it. But if you consider this plus this, I mean, you are getting a lot of damage out of it. So even though you're only having a pretty minimal stack, but I feel like having this in combination, you should be in good hands, obviously. And right off the bat, you are getting an EX skill gauge recovery by 33%, so having that actually does help out by a large margin. And given whatever unit enhancement you do to your units, that is definitely going to keep you up low for your EX or for your Hyper Awakening. And as far as skill 2, pretty much bare basic, pretty much nothing in it. So when battle begins, increase accuracy by 17%. So this is kind of a way to, for sure, when you pop the initial EX skill gauge, you can do it fast, you can land your hits on target, because you obviously don't want to be missing, right? But other than that, when we do take a look at the unicorn kit, it is so bare bone. There is pretty much nothing that excites you in any form or fashion. Transcendent skill, it is just your basic 3-piece combo, increase accuracy, increase beam damage, and then EX skill gauge recovery, or just restore. So a very basic kit. But having this, actually this makes this unit completely into a monster, just how it is. So I think after this review, we are going to I did already record it, kind of like the initial showcase of this unit, so you guys can definitely kind of get a feel of how this unit is. And then probably gonna take me a few days to kind of get some more unit enhancement point, so I can start making that after unit enhancement, after T5 and P4 for me, how good it will be. But yeah, I definitely say this unit is still pretty good, despite the fact that it has some of the more bare bone descriptions out there. Yeah, it's still pretty strong. I don't know why. It is what it is. In terms of the main weapon themselves, they're not anything too crazy. Beam Magnum on both of them, so these are going to be the two that's going to be using a lot, while the Beam Tonfa does not get used at all, pretty much. So it pretty much go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's pretty much it. And the special weapon, we have the Shield Funnel, that pretty much hits on par with these two weapons in combination, so roughly about the same chunks of barbs, so pretty good output, obviously. But other than that, Unicorn is definitely a must-have just to get one copy. And other than that, you guys can definitely save and wait until what we are getting for the end of the month. As far as Banagher lengths, for example, I will probably say you don't need him, because Banagher really isn't providing a whole lot. First of all, you are getting the stackable range sense up to 150. Popping EX skill wise, you're getting up to another 260 or 69%. So in total, I think you're getting up to, what is it, 288. But when we do take a look at our other option, for example, I think the next best fit for this unit is actually going to be this armor right over here. This armor actually fits pretty much all the description, the one that you need to stack the rank sense, and it works out just about the same, believe it or not. So if you guys are not summoning for Banagher links, for example, you can definitely replace it with this armor over here. And there are obviously just a few more you can use as well. Like, I think what would be the next best one to use? Maybe the green, what is it, perfectibility. That Banagher links probably work as well. So there are just a lot of options out there. So don't think you are restricted, because at this point in time, if you're talking about generic or blue, green, yellow, purple, whatever, they are continue to trend up sharing some of the more similar abilities. And given the fact that most of the tags, the categories for Unicorn, are pretty common, and the list is pretty large. All right, so you can definitely find something that would fit into this unit perfectly fine. So yeah, that's why I feel like Banagher is definitely a skip, because you probably want to use your diamond to get the unit, then walk out of here and don't touch this banner, because I don't think it's that much worth it. But other than that, that is pretty much what I have for you guys. I think Unicorn is definitely a great unit to have. Just at least one copy should be fine. But other than that, that is going to be it, and I'll be catching you guys all on the next one.